Predicting housing price in Orlando using linear regression. Hello, my name is Gislene Martins Robles. I am a student in data science and a real estate investor. In my previous presentation, I showed that data science can help with data analysis, and today, in this presentation, I will go a little further and apply these tools to a real data set. I will use a simple linear regression model to analyze the trends in house price in Orlando based on data from Zillow Research. Orlando is one of the most dynamic housing markets in Florida. With a strong population growth and a steady tourism industry, the city economy constantly influences housing price. Over the years, we have seen the major changes such as the decline during 2008 financial crisis and a strong recovery after 2020. By looking at this pattern, we can better understand how the markets behave and why data analysis can help us to make smart decisions. We can talk about housing price. There isn't just one factor involved. It is a mix of size, location, and broader economic conditions. In a fast growing city like Orlando, these factors interact all the time and prices keep shifting. The question I want to explore was how have home prices in Orlando changed over the past 2 decades? This is where linear regression comes in. It helps us identify and quantify that long-term trends. So, what is linear regression in simple words? Let's imagine we have a graph full of little points, each one showing the price of a house in a certain year. Some of those points are higher, some are lower, and together they look a bit scattered. What linear regression does is draw a straight line that goes right through the middle of all those points, the line that best represents them. This line helps us see the general pattern. Is this price going up over time or going down? In math terms, we call it y equals a plus b times x. Here's, Here, y is what we want to predict, like the price of the house. X is the independence variable, in this case, time. A is where the line begins, and b is the slope. It shows how much the price changes as time goes by. So, even if every point moves up and down from year to year, this line gives us the big pictures, the overall trend behind all those changes. For this analysis, I used a real data from Zillow Research, one of the most reliable sources for housing market information in the United States. The specific data set is called the Zillow Home Value Index, or ZHVI. It shows the typical or median home value for each metropolitan area, in this case, Orlando, Florida. The data covers the period from the year 2000 to 2024 and represents the seasonal adjusted average price of the single-family homes and condos. In simple terms, this dataset tells us how the average home's value in Orlando has changed over time, which makes it perfect for studying long-term trends using a linear regression. To build in this project, I used Google Colab, which is an online platform where you can write and run Python code right in your browser. I worked with Python and a few of the most common libraries. Pandas help me organize and clear the data. Matplotlib allowed me to create charts and visualize trends, and Sky, Sitekite, Scikit-learn, was used to build the linear regression model. The process itself was very straightforward. I upload the Zillow dataset selected online the data for Orlando and trained a simple linear regression model to understand how home prices change over time. Once the model was ready, I created a line, the regression line, that shows the average trend and price across the year. And that's what helped us clearly see the long-term pattern that we'll find in the next slide. This graphic shows the result of the model I create for Orlando housing market. The blue line shows the real home value from the Zillow dataset, month by month, from the year 2000 all the way to 2024. The orange line is the regression line, which represents the general trend of how prices changed over time. The equation you see here, ZHVI equal 109,753.19 plus 726.69 times time basically tell us that on average home value in Orlando increased by about $726 each month or roll $8,700 per year. The R square value or R2 and 0.56 means that the model explains around 56% of the price variation. And that's actually quite good for real world data. Of course, housing price depends on many things like interest rate, location, and construction activity. But overall, what we see here is a clear upward trend. Orlando's housing market has growing steadily and showing consistent appreciation over the past 2 decades. Like any model, linear regression has its limitations. This is one of the general trends in Orlando housing price, but it doesn't predict individual prices changes. For example, it can capture Sunday drops or spikes caused by a specific event. Another important point that linear regression assumes a straight line relationship. While the house market doesn't always behave that way, we can see, for instance, how prices dropped sharply during the 2008 crisis and then rose again after 2020. Those variations aren't perfectly linear. Also, housing prices are influenced by many other factors: interest rates, economic conditions, location, neighborhood development, and even construction costs. This kind of analysis can be very helpful in a real life. For example, it's help people and also real estate agents or investor see how the market is moving and what direction prices are going. It can support better buying and selling decisions and even help banks or companies estimate the future value of properties. Most of all, it shows that data is powerful. It helps us make smart and confident decisions instead of just guessing. To finish, I'd like to share a few simple takeaways from this project. First, linear regression is a great tool to see patterning in data. It helps us understand how things change over time. This case, we saw that housing price in Orlando have been growing in a steady of positive way. This shows that data can tell a story and help people make a real decision, not just guessing. Even a simple model like this can teach us a lot and help us plan for the future. For me, this project was also about learning how to connect what I study with real life and how data science can turn information into understanding. Thank you for watching my presentation.